and it can only get worse. According to the American Trucking Association, the country could be down 100,000 truckers by next year. As Trey Francis reports, an effort to recruit more drivers continues right here in Acadiana.
The trucking industry is in high demand but are in need of drivers. Here's how the Louisiana Workforce Commission wants to fill that void to help those interested to get their CDL.
It brings joy to me to know that I'm able to help somebody, help them get out of a situation they're in, and trucking is a great way to do that.
SLCC provides a class for those seeking CDLs, but with the help of the Louisiana Workforce Commission, 48 grants will be provided to those who qualify and are interested in attaining their CDL.
The cost of the class is $5,125, and the grants covers the full cost of the class. So that for those that apply and that meet the requirements set by the Louisiana Workforce Commission, it's going to cover the full tuition.
You know, you get an opportunity to where you don't have to come out pockets, and you got good programs to get into it. It should be no excuses, you know, to get into the program. And I advise anyone to get in it while it's good.
Several say another factor of the shortage is the perceptions people have of truck drivers.
They have women truck drivers, men truck drivers, all different ages, coming straight out of school, trying to, you know, get their CDL, change their lives, you know, just trying to make themselves into a better person.
But there is no doubt the trucking industry is essential. Officials say nearly all items in your home were brought to you somehow by a truck.
So many options, like your CDL, and this initial training is only a starting point. It's a launching pad that can bring you in so many different directions.
It's not really hard. Just take a step back, gather yourself, and you'll do all right. It's not that bad at all.
Spots will fill up quickly, so you're advised to fill out your application before the final class begins on May 1st. In Crowley, Trey Francis, KETC, TV3.
In order to qualify for the grant, you will need a DOTD physical and drug screening. You'll also need to have a permit before applying for the grants. In international news now, the leader of the Islamic State is dead after a raid by U.S. Special Operations in Syria.
Now, the administration now saying the leader blew himself up during that raid. ABC's Im Nguyen has the story.
The gut-wrenching stories, mass.
President Joe Biden announcing the leader of the Islamic State dead after a raid by U.S. Special Forces in northwest Syria. Civilian safety was a priority, but officials say Haji Abdullah blew up himself and at least 3 others shortly after U.S. forces arrived. At least a dozen people were killed during the raid.
In a final act of desperate cowardness, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just to the vest, but to blow up that 3rd floor.
Pentagon officials say forces protected more than 10 women and children in the home because they chose to carry out a raid rather than an airstrike.
Strong indications are that to the degree there's loss of innocent life, it's loss caused by Mr. Abdullah and his lieutenant.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who kept in contact with President Biden and Vice President Harris in the Situation Room, says Abdullah, quote, provided near constant operational guidance to ISIS fighters, including the recent attempt to break thousands of followers out of prison in Syria. This 9-year-old lives on the ground floor of the building that was raided. They pounced on my father, threw him on the ground and tied him, and pointed their gun at him. He told them I did nothing. There were no U.S. casualties, and officials say the 2-hour mission ran smoothly. However, a helicopter experienced mechanical failure and was destroyed by U.S. forces a short distance away.
Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you.
Administration officials briefed several congressional members on the ISIS raid. Speaker Nancy Pelosi commended the mission, saying it was justice delivered. Im Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
There are now 5 persons of interest in connection with the bomb threats to historically black colleges and universities across the country. Here in Louisiana, Southern University and Xavier were targeted this week. The FBI reported over 20 bomb threats at HBCUs and other institutions, several of those schools canceling classes amid concerns. Several sources reporting the persons of interest are juveniles, and they are connected to spoof calls that come from fake phone numbers.
Still ahead tonight right here on Acadiana's News Channel at 5. Acadiana's first Mardi Gras parade is set to roll this weekend in New Iberia. We'll have a preview coming up at 5:20.
And the winter chill is back, and we're not done with the rainfall, at least for portions of Acadiana. We'll have all the details and Power Doppler 3 coming up right after the break.
And as we head to break, a look at one Acadiana business hiring workers right now. If you want to apply for this job, or if you're an employer who wants to be featured, just visit our Facebook group, The Rebound Acadiana Jobs. Post on the wall, and you could be chosen to be featured right here at 5.
Crime Stoppers of Vermilion presents the Crime of the Week.
Crime Stoppers in the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office would like your assistance in solving this segment's Crime of the Week. On January 26th of 2022, the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office secured a felony arrest warrant for the apprehension of Daniel Paul Seymour. Seymour is wanted for 2 felonies, to include 1 count of domestic abuse, aggravated assault, and 1 count of aggravated assault. Seymour also has 3 misdemeanors, to include 1 count of domestic abuse, battery, 1 count of hit and run, and 1 count of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Seymour's last known address is in the Abbeville area on South Jefferson Street. He's described as a black male, 36 years old, brown eyes, black hair, stands 5 foot 11 inches tall, and weighs approximately 200 pounds. If you have information on this or any other crime, I encourage you to call the Crime Stoppers tip line at 740-TIP, or download and log on to the P3 app to report your tips anonymously, where you can earn a cash reward. From Vermilion Parish, I'm the Violent Crimes Task Force Director and Crime Stoppers Coordinator, Eddie Longlanet.
TC Weatherland. Here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, just a subtle reminder, it's still winter, but a not so subtle reminder outdoors, where we went from the 70s this morning to the 40s inside of just a few hours, and it's only heading for the 30s tonight. Wind chills into the 20s. So let's take a look at the big picture across the lower 48, where we have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings still flying from the nation's midsection up through the Midwest and the Northeast. And then farther south and east has been flooding conditions. We have flood warnings and a tornado watch that goes to 6 o'clock for portions of Alabama. And actually, a few tornadoes did develop this afternoon, with most of the damage being done in the Alabama area. Back to the west, you can see most of the snow beginning to wind down across Texas, but still a little bit of a wintry mix across southeast Texas. But I just checked over at Intercontinental Airport, and they're still at 34 degrees. So again, these are always approximations of what's going on precipitation-wise, where the computer's kind of deciding, okay, this is a mix, this is freezing rain, the white stuff is snow, going to blue is heavier snow, but we're not expecting any of that here locally. But look at all this wet weather. This storm really delivering on rainfall. Our models were indicating 2 to 4 inches of rain were possible eastern Louisiana on eastward, which is certainly verified. It was going for about a ½ inch to an inch of rain for the rest of Acadiana. Most of us saw a lot less than that. Now, as we look at the regional Doppler radar, still a fair bit of cloud-to-ground lightning. Locally heavy rainfall continues eastern Louisiana. Flooding roadways is just absolutely miserable here. And then back a little bit closer to home, as we check our radar out, we're actually seeing some showers, and a few storms are showing some cloud-to-ground lightning coming through Southwest Pass into Vermilion, Chaffalaya Bay. More action down toward Timberleer Bay. This activity moving northeastward, so it looks like more rain on the way, at least for New Iberia, from let's say Jeanerette, maybe midway through New Iberia, Iberia Parish on southeastward into St. Mary Parish. So keep the rain gear handy. And with cloud-to-ground lightning, that means not only locally heavy downpours, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's small pea-sized hail in some of that convection that's offshore. So we'll be watching that trend. More patchy rain and light drizzle mist for the rest of us. We have rain chances at 60%, but we'll see how things develop. The models do like another round of precipitation overnight tonight. Then tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, and cold. There might be a few light precip spots across the area during the day, but overall it should be a relatively dry day. Clouds stay locked in, so temperatures have a hard time getting out of the 30s. We'll go lower 40s for the high, and I think that's optimistic. Then we clear out tomorrow night. The winds finally begin to die down a little bit, and we should get into the upper 20s for Saturday morning. And here we go with the weekend. Lots of sunshine in the forecast this weekend, but it's going to be degree, chilly sun, a high near 50 on Saturday, a little bit milder on Sunday. As we go into Saturday night, Sunday morning, another night of freezing temperatures, but all the freezes that we're going to see, light freezes, not pipe busting cold. So there's the silver lining. Tonight, upper 20s to lower 30s, so at or below freezing, pretty much along the Highway 190 corridor on northward. You get down to the I-10 corridor, a degree or two above the freezing mark, but you probably want to cover the plants and absolutely make sure the pets have a warm place to stay as we factor in those wind chills, and low to mid 30s down along the coast as well. Now, as for your temperatures, we'll start out again in the low to mid 30s tomorrow morning, and then in the afternoon, the lower 40s tomorrow night. That's when we see the lighter shades of blue coming in, so we'll get down into the 20s, most of us, and there you go, lower 50 Saturday afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Wind chill, the big factor, and that factor is going down